we want information fast and we want it compressed into something that's more palatable.
Everyone is the author of their own book, but I feel like some people just want to write in other people's books. I've messaged all the majority of influencers, would you like to be on my podcast?
Yep.
And they've seen it. And I know they saw it. But for some reason, I was in a position where I think I need to earn my flowers before I'm able to talk more story with these guys.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Unfiltered Talk podcast episode, 25.
25.
25.
Let's go.
So I heard that if you make it past 20, it's like, okay, you're dialed in, got a good portfolio.
You're like the 1%.
The 1%, is it really?
The 1% only make it past 21 episodes.
Dude, that's wild.
That's crazy.
That's wild. Guys, real quick, I want to give y'all an introduction. So we're here at Hawaii Home Rentals here in Hawaii in Hauula. We want to give a huge shout out to Hawaii Home Rentals for making this trip possible. Guys, if you guys are looking for, bookings for a family event, over, 30 plus guests, Hawaii Home Rentals is the place you guys want to go to. Located here in Hauula. Only the beach is how close, bro? Like in feet wise.
Feet wise, literally like 10 feet away. 10 feet away, guys. 10 feet away.
Literally a beach right across the street. So just really grateful to Kyle Vrikin, all you guys from Hawaii Home Rentals for making this possible. So sponsored by them for this episode. But I got my boy Brandon here from Authentic Podcast. Really quick, give an introduction to your platform, to who you
are. What's up, guys? My name is Brandon. I'm the producer and owner of Authentic Podcast with Brandon again here in Hawaii. We're based out in Hawaii, but Frank, I've been in New Zealand, Utah, here. So right now we're just trying to kick things off again to back into it. But for the podcast, we just focus on getting to know people with excellence, whether it be locally, whether it be in different countries in the Pacific. We like to focus on their endeavors and how they'll be able to focus more on to achieving their dreams, but also them giving advice and to people like us that need it so that they can achieve what they want to achieve. Anything's possible for them. And also I guess finding your own identity, where be yourself, whether it be others, family, just really finding the authentic you and also staying authentic in today's society.
So what was the inspiration for Authentic Podcast? Was there a specific event where you're like, man, I could do this?
No, yeah, I think during COVID, I went back home to New Zealand to get surgery. Shout out free healthcare. But I wasn't doing anything with. I had an ACL surgery, so my thought came to my mind. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna do a podcast. I just listened to a lot of Joe Rogan stuff, and I listened to a lot of podcasts. And I'm like, oh, it'll be cool to start one up. And I'm like, oh, what should I call it? My friend and I were talking about it, and we're just like, why not the something real, authentic? And we're like, oh yeah, Authentic Podcast has a good ring to it, So we're just thinking about it, and that's pretty much how it got started. Is the Authentic Podcast. Let's find people, locally, whoever it is around town, and their stories, because everyone has their own identity. Everyone has their own authentic stories, and that makes them who they are. So it's that's the big part of it is that I liked about it is focusing on that. So
what about podcasting that's been super rewarding for you, or what's something that you enjoy the most about doing podcasting?
Bro, the biggest part of being the biggest rewarding part is probably meeting new people. I think networking is huge, but I think learning someone's stories, and also having guests that share things that they've never shared before. I think that's pretty cool to see some people in their vulnerable state and sharing things, letting people know that they're human, but they're also striving to be better. I think that's probably one thing that I love the most about podcasting. You can probably attest to it too. Meeting new guests, hearing stories, and talking to them about where they are, where they're coming from, or where they're going, or even finding a good story. I think even finding a good story, that's the big part about it, is listening. People listening to good stories, and we're basically on podcasts. You're basically storytellers. you're trying to find stories, but also listen to stories and find, and hopefully those stories we can take back and apply it to ourselves. So I think that's, yeah.
Was there any story in particular that you felt like was really powerful? Because I know, like for me as a podcaster, right, you're sitting there and you're listening to these people sharing their real experiences, right?
Yeah.
They're being vulnerable with you and sharing
Yeah.
something that happened to them that may or may not be favorable to a specific group or demographic, right? But for you, was there a specific story that you had heard that you were like, wow, this is real. Like what I'm doing is real.
I think I had a close buddy of mine and I asked him to be a podcast. He was like a bodybuilder. He loved going to the gym. And we grew up with him. He moved out to Australia, New Zealand, like, and I asked him, hey, would you mind being on my podcast? And I'm like, yeah. Like, so we talked about it. And this is someone like I grew up with, and I always thought he was like a good guy, you know, like never really thought anything of him. He just does his own thing. But then like he kind of broke down on the podcast, and he was
mid episode.
Yeah, and I was like, and I never knew anything about it. He's like, he told me he was homeless. He was homeless for a little bit, living in an abandoned like hotel or store for a couple of days because he was just trying to make it out there in Australia, and became like a personal. And then fast forward, that moment pushed him, met someone, and then he became a PT. After the PT, like, now he moved back to New Zealand and he started his own franchise gym. And I'm like, bro, like that story is actually out of it. And for me to like know that there's someone I grew up with not knowing that story at all.
Yeah.
And to hear about it from his perspective, I'm like, dang, like this is actually kind of real. Like people are actually sharing their genuine, vulnerable state of feelings, and you're actually, and to some people they say it's therapy. Like you talk to someone for a while about things that you have on your mind or opinions that you have that other people may not agree with. And knowing that they just have some place to talk about it, I think that was like a moment where I was like, oh, this is actually like what it's about, you know?
Yeah. Now, obviously, when it comes to podcasting too, you're going to listen to stories that maybe you don't agree with or something that, you know, kind of piques your interest in a sense of like, man, I wonder how this person came to that conclusion with a specific experience that they have, right? When it comes to like cutting up clips, right, as a podcaster, how do you determine which clips get posted from this 45-minute long episode that you shoot with your guests?
I think going back to the stories, I feel like for me, I genuinely believe that stories are rooted with us culturally, historically, everything. If you think about history is all about story. Book of Mormon, Bible, like all about stories. Like those are true stories that happen, and those stories, that's what allows us to relate to purpose, relate to our ideals, relate to what we believe in. And I think there's something, I don't say eternal, like there's something like very, what's the word? Something very real with it, authentic, you know, like there's something that's real with the story. Like, let's say like you know, like for example, you as a kid, you look at a photo, your dad showing you a photo, and you ask him, hey, what happened to the photo? And your dad can recall that story and retell it to you. And then you have a sense of, dang, like, my dad did this in this story. Like, that's crazy. Like, oh man, I want to be like that. Like, it just gives you a purpose, identity. It gives you a call to action. It gives you a sense of direction, I feel like. So I think just finding those stories and seeing which one draws to people, because like you can attest it to as well, you know, like when you're clipping stuff off on your podcast, like you can see which stories people can take to heart or get offended, or like maybe like they can like choose whatever they want to do, but at the end of the day, you show them a story, they can either be the bad guy or the good guy, and they can interpret it either or, and that's like the beauty of storytelling, you know. I think that's the best part about it.
No, I agree. I think it, like for me personally, when it comes to sharing like the raw emotions, the raw experiences that you have in life, there's something to be said about not coming to your own conclusions with limited information, right? You have people who, love to share these small clips of, of these long stories that have way more context behind them.
Yeah.
But then you have an audience who's not willing to do their own investigation to make sure that they fully understand the background.
Yeah.
Right. And so they come to these conclusions and then they post on social media willy-nilly without any context. With any context, right? Super frustrating for me because I try to be someone that wants to give people the benefit of the doubt, right?
Yeah.
But it's tough to do that where we want information fast and we want it like compressed into something that's more palatable rather than accepting the raw experience. You know what I mean? But I wonder what your thoughts are on that.
I think people want to be the storyteller, Obviously everyone is the author of their own book. But I feel like some people just want to write in other people's books. And I feel like a lot of people don't have the patience to literally just listen. I feel like listening has kind of faded away, especially in today's society. Like how many people do you know that they post something, they watch the first 10 seconds, and there's a minute left of the video, but then they only focus on the 10 seconds. Like that's like their side of mind, their inside of things. Right, it's just if you can only see 10 seconds of a 1 minute clip, like if in that perspective, in that analogy, right? Dude, you can lose so much context and sense of judgment, right? And that's depending on the person, like, and that's a society we live in with a fast pace, like everything wants information now, give it to me now. Whereas, I think it'd be a lot beneficial for everybody if we do 10 times to slow down. Watch, take into account everything that happens, and then judge on that basis. You know what I mean? And everyone's free to have their own opinions, right? Like, everyone has the freedom of speech, and I think it's just depending on how we address those situations and address people's thoughts.
I appreciate that perspective, and I think also with freedom of speech also allows for freedom of correction. You know what I mean?
For real, no, facts.
It's not just about having the freedom of speech to say whatever you want, but to be informed, to be really educated on the stance that you're going to take, because so many things already have been misinterpreted, misframed, because people want to turn it into something that is clickbaity. You know what I mean? And all the flowers to those who have managed to take their content creation level to the next level, and they've used the social media platforms in order to grow their following and their bases, because they understand that, man, those first 5 seconds, you know what I mean? That's the attention span of a small child. You know what I mean? But we have to utilize that in order to grow, and then bring you to the actual meat of the conversation, right? Let's talk about with your journey in being a podcaster and a content creator. What have been some of the more frustrating aspects that you wish your audience knew more about?
Let's see. I wish my audience understood that. I think one thing that I wish they understand is, like, I'm grateful for them. I think thinking about it, I haven't been too consistent, and it's just been trying to find obviously, I can be those ones that said, "Oh, life is getting in the way of it," blah blah blah. But at the same time, like, I think sometimes I owe it to my listeners who do listen every week, who do download my podcast and everything, to be more grateful for them, and by doing that is creating more content. Because I've had messages from people that they'll just send me random messages and say, "Hey, I'm so grateful for you. Like, I'm grateful for the podcast that you're producing. Like, keep going. Like, don't give up." Or I resonate with that story. Like, I've had the same experiences. So, like, those small fruits is like, you're slowly realizing that it's now not about you. It's about those that you influence, and those that you influence can either create or destroy society. So I feel like that's a huge part about it. Is I want them to know, like, how grateful I am for them and how I'm trying to get back into it so that they can, have those more gems and those more podcast episodes. Starting with this one too. So, like, grateful actually for the Unfiltered podcast. Grateful for Lemma like just being here today to make some content and adding more value to that. So
I appreciate you, bro. And it's it's all about, like, for me, it's like we're all in this together, right?
yeah,
There's no competition,
mm-hmm.
right? No competition in the sense that, when we focus on building each other up, we all have something to add,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody has a need for more support, more outreach. For me, I don't understand the whole mentality of gatekeeping.
No, 100%. I feel like so on that I have found that the podcasting environment when it first started, like, and even till now, I don't think there's a lot of podcasts who don't support, but I felt like the podcast environment have been so positive, like wanting to collab, wanting to share, wanting to talk a story about with everyone. I feel like that this platform podcasting is nothing but supportive, but also can tear down at the same time. Yeah. So it just depends on those that are, whatever their judgment is or what they want to do about it. So,
well, and maybe this is something that you can speak to, but like I feel like there's a level of pride, a level of possessiveness that people have to their success, and so, and because I understand it, because it's like, on the one hand, you have people who literally do it by themselves.
Yeah.
Literally do it by themselves. They didn't get no help, right? They came from the sticks. They built themselves to where they are currently, right?
Yeah.
And so when someone else looks to another creator and they see that they have to receive all this help, all this guidance and direction, and they're like, "Whoa, what the hell? Hold on, where was this when I was creating? Where was all the help and support when I was creating? Because I literally had to build this up from the ground up."
Exactly.
What do you think about that?
I honestly, like, I don't know. I feel like it's selfish, bro. I feel like you in this industry, on these platforms, just remember that you were once them. And like, if you could go back, of course you would want to be there and have somebody to help. But like, of course you'd want a special guest here and there to like be able to help lift your platform. You know what I mean? And I feel like if you're gatekeeping or being that type of person and that's who you are, that's fine. I feel like if you want people to earn your stripes, like for example, when I was in New Zealand, like, and I started the podcast, there's a lot of like haters, right? They're like, what is a podcast? Or what is this? Or how can you do this? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to run with it. And I felt like, and this is how I feel. You can, whatever influencer in New Zealand, whatever influencer in New Zealand talk about it, but I've messaged all the like majority of influencers. Yeah. Would you like to be on my podcast? Yep. And they've seen it. And I know they saw it. I'm like, bro, like, I know they've seen it, but for some reason, I was in a position where I think I need to earn my flowers before I'm able to talk more story with these guys. Yeah. And that's how I kind of felt mentally, because there's only like, in New Zealand, there's only like a couple top creators in there, and now it's gone even more. Like, there's a lot of newer, up and coming influencers in New Zealand. There's always the OGs like Jimmy Jackson, Johnny Tuwasa Shake. Like, there's always like those people like Terrell and all those other guys. Now there's a Morning Shift podcast, right? Like, those guys as well. So
shout out to Morning Shift. Y'all make some good content, bro. They do make
some good content. But yeah, like, I've always wanted to collaborate it. In my mind, I've always thought like, I have to like build up more to be able to be in that group. And for some reason, it kind of played with me a little bit mentally. But at the same time, I was like, okay, like, it just pushes me more to get to that point. You know what I mean? So it has its pros and cons. But at the same time, I feel like everyone needs to understand, like, whether or not you're really about it, like, I think just go for it. So.
Yeah, I mean, we want to progress to a point where we don't have to do things by ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We don't revert back to those times, those moments of struggle. I mean, there is something to be said about the lesson in the journey, right? And the struggle. I totally understand it. And all the OGs, I get it. I get it. Like, y'all grew up when, during a time when we had black and white TVs, they were doing yard work and all that. So I get it. Like the struggle definitely can build people. Mm-hmm. But I think that the newer generation, if we cultivate like an environment where it's focused on community, mm-hmm. right? Helping one another, mm-hmm. Building up one another, through offering some support or some guidance of some sort, like that ultimately is going to lead us to a better place than saying, hold on, you don't get any help. You got to do this by yourself first and then learn the lessons that I had to learn along the way, rather than just handing it to them there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't understand that whole, like, they got to go what I went through.
Mm-hmm. I feel, and I don't know, it's kind of hard because, like, I get that they want that tough love. They need to go through the sticks to get there. But at the same time, I feel like what you said, building the community, there's something about it that just lasts forever. And for those that are wanting to decide if they want to give them the hard road or give them the easy road, I don't think there's an easy road to it. Like, at the same time, like, I think pieces, like, there's the reason why we have top creators, because we believe in them, that they're going to help the next, like, whoever's up and coming, to get them there as well. Because, like, if one eats, then we all eat. I feel like that's a community that we're trying to build. But in the society, it's like that crab mentality. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, everyone doesn't want to see them doing better than them. But, like, why wouldn't you want to see someone do better than you? Like, why wouldn't you be happy for that person? Like, if I had, like, some of my friends and they like played an amazing game, or like their content went off, I'm like, why would I drag him down? Like, if not, like, I should be uplifting them, building them up, like, supporting them. Yeah. Because in retrospective, like, everyone's supporting each other. Like, if everyone's supporting that person, so why not at the same time, if it comes back and they're supporting them, then it works both ways. So,
and I think we can do a better job at being. So for those who are receiving the help and the guidance, like, I think we could do a better job of being more grateful, more appreciative of the support that we do get. Because I get it. Like, it's, you don't want to give help to someone and then they take all the credit for their upbringing, for their, the success that they have, and then forget those who actually helped them along the way.
I feel like if they do forget, that's on them.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. For some reason, I believe in, like, there's a big karma. Like, do good unto others as Jesus done good unto you. I feel like that's a huge big factor into, like, energy. I feel like energy is never destroyed, right? We're always circling around energy. And if I'm giving good energy towards you, then hopefully that energy is going to go to somewhere else that needs it, and then it passes around. But if I'm always going to pass around, give negative energy, it's just going to come back and bite me in the butt. Like, I just feel that way. So, like, there's always... It's a hard thing to process for those that are getting into that space, but at the same time, I think that's why it goes back to remembering who you are. Like, what was your purpose? Like, what are you doing? And that keeps you grounded.
Yeah. So, and I've asked this question to a few other creators, those who have entered this content creation space, regarding those who have taken advantage of their platforms, taken advantage of the hard work that you do as a content creator. Do you have any? And obviously share as much as you'd like to, but do you have any experiences where you felt like the snakes in the content creation environment have tried to take advantage or have taken advantage of your hard work, your platform?
I feel like, dang, that's a good question. I think that I'm always one to, like, be neutral in situations. So, like, I feel like when it comes to those snakes in the, who just want to use people for, to get to their own agenda, right? I think for them, dang, what can I say about them? I'm just over here, like, contemplating.
Maybe if you haven't had that experience, or maybe if, your thoughts on, because, like, the Polynesian community, right? We're so giving. We give freely, right? At least, that was the what I was led to believe through the experiences that I had, right? Literally, shirt off your back, hand it to them. But is it something that we need to be aware of when it comes to people who are trying to take advantage or exploit your kindness or your willingness to work with someone? Or is it something that hey, you know what? We just give no matter what, and how they use it is on them. What do you think?
I feel like those who do give, I feel like there's always good that's going to come back. At the same time, those who take advantage of it's going to come back at them as well.
Yeah.
Like, for me, like, our Polynesian community, and I'll focus this a lot on podcasts, but like, bro, I believe the Polynesian community is probably one of the most talented communities out there, right? We're blessed with a lot of talents, or it's creative, or it's sports, you know, like whatever it is. But at the same time, we can be the most prideful, and we can be the most damaging to our own community. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, shout out to Mashan, but we had a podcast earlier before, and he talked a little bit about it as well. I'm just using an example because it's the first one that came to my mind.
Yeah, sure thing.
And like, him going through the trenches and like creating his music, right? And he said something about like something so profound that stuck with me, even though they're his own people. And keep in mind, like, I believe that the music industry is probably the most toxic. It's the most toxic community, because everything we're speaking about podcasting, the music industry is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to give flowers. They don't want to like bring people in unless they like, you know, they get their due as well. So, and all platforms who I knew do music, like they gatekeep whatever it may be. But yeah, for him to, how he was explaining it to me, like his song Sway, everyone already knows it. It's
everyone knows.
Everyone knows Sway. And if you don't know, like, any dances and youth dances you do, I know you've been playing Sway and you've been doing it all the time, and everyone dances to it, whatever is function. So him applying for like a couple of awards, which streamed, like, you know, and they've been in a lot of people, but for them to like kind of not acknowledge, you know, who he is at that time. And then I think it for him, he was on that verge of, okay, like, I don't get my flowers right now, but and I'm paraphrasing it right now, but how the conversation went was like, okay, like, I'm gonna make sure that they understand like who I am, and not in a cocky way, but like in a confident way.
Yeah, in a confident way.
You know what I mean? So, it's sometimes it's our own people that get to us, and then for that it was your own industry, your own community, right? So those communities are so important for people to grow, and if you don't have a positive community that can help you grow, that's damaging to your soul. You know, that's it. So that's something that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely understand, and for me, I've always wanted to just educate people and letting them know that like it's okay to be aware of the snakes in the grass, right?
Yeah.
Those who are looking to tear down, right? In the wolves in sheep clothing, right? And I think that there is such thing as toxic positivity. I know it probably sounds counterintuitive, but like I think there is something to be said about being so positive that you're naive and ignorant of those who are lurking, you know, lurking in the grass, exactly. Yeah. There's a fine line, of course, line of being able to like be aware, but then also never lose that like that core trait of being Polynesian, which is aloha to everyone.
Yeah, no, 100%. I feel like it's kind of on us too. I kind of think it's a funny thing, because, you know, like we were made kind of bigger than a lot of other people in the world, but at the same time, like we are also like the most gentle and kind as well. You know, whoever it is, like, we're always sharing aloha. We're always, you know, sharing love to those who it is, family. Even if family, bro, even when family do you wrong, like, we're still expected to like take the chin on the shoulder, or take it to the chin and just keep walking and say it's okay. You know, I think that's the best. I mean, that's probably one of the best traits that we've been learned, but it's also double-edged sword at the same time.
Absolutely. And I think it's something that can be exploited and taken advantage of in the wrong context, right?
No, 100%.
Really quick, Brandon, I wanted to close on talking a little bit about the mental health journey that us men are on, right? For you personally, as you've been doing this podcasting and content creation, obviously there's some level of impact that all this stuff can have on mental health. Talk to me a little bit about your journey, your perspective on that particularly.
mental health. Excuse me. I believe. I don't know. It's a hard subject because I know that it's a huge one for males. I think when we do understand ourselves authentically and who we are, we understand our purpose and our identity. That helps us with whatever state that we're in, state of mind that we're in. Because I do feel like a lot of it can be fixed. Like whether or not like you're diagnosed with it or not, like because I feel like the past 10 years have been the most we've ever like been diagnosed with a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Not even just male too, like, but like, specifically like youth in general. And speaking on this male subject of us, like the mental health, like I honestly believe that when we truly understand who we are, our purpose, if we have one, right, and we have a set goal in mind, then I do believe that it helps out with all like state of minds that whatever we go through. Just because like, your body and your mind are one, right, and your soul as well. So you have your mind, body, and your soul. Like, what can I do to help my body? Because my body affects my mind and my soul affects my mind and my body. So it's like it all intertwines spiritually, physically, and emotionally. And when we level up all those, I believe when we level up on all those attributes or those states, I believe that we won't have any problem. Like those problems go away. Personally, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or we're more prepared to deal with those.
Yeah, taking a more holistic look and seeing how interconnected those three aspects are.
Yeah.
Right. Take care of your physical body. More than likely, like I'll bet my entire life savings that you take care of your body, your mind is gonna follow suit.
100%. Because I believe if you look good, you feel good.
Yeah.
And that helps within your mind. It gives you confidence, esteem. Like those all come into play, and it's been like scientifically proven as well. Like when we do that, it helps your whole body, your mind, and your spirit, and you're able to function properly to its proper function. It's like if I don't eat all day, I'm gonna get hangry, and it's gonna affect my mental. Like that's the same thing. Like it's just if I don't work out all day, I'll feel weak, and it's gonna mess with my mental. So I feel like all plays in a good part. So
I agree. Brandon, thank you so much, brother, for hopping on another episode for the Unfiltered Talk podcast. Just wanted to show appreciation to you, and I know that you had to drive all the way from La Ia to Haula. It's a long drive.
Not that far, but it's all good.
But if you want to give some closing remarks, we'll close this episode out.
Yeah. Grateful for everyone. Obviously grateful for Element Unfiltered Podcast. Grateful for you guys giving me the opportunity to come on this podcast. Grateful for all the listeners. If you haven't already, guys, check us out. Authentic Podcast. We're on all social media platforms. We are on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. But yeah, pretty much. Tune in, listen in, and enjoy those gems. At the same time, stay authentic, stay real. So, do your best, and that's pretty much it.
Appreciate you, bro. Guys, this has been episode 25 of the Unfiltered Talk podcast in collaboration with Authentic Podcast. Unfiltered Talk podcast for the people, by the people, and without a filter. We'll catch y'all later.